Hi, my name's Mark, one of the pastors at Trillium. Relationships are hard, and the closer we draw to each other, the harder they become. I think this is in part because we become more entangled with each other, sometimes in not always healthy ways, but also because as we draw closer to each other, we see each other's flaws and blemishes. Up close, they become very noticeable to us. Jesus never trusted human nature. He always seemed to take into account the reality of sin in his dealings with people. Sin is the understanding of human selfishness, human self-centered ways of living and thinking, people's capacity for egotism, which can ultimately grow to malevolent capacity in us, for sure. Jesus never trusted human nature. And yet he was never cynical or suspicious about it either. Rather, he seemed to, in a situation with people, he seemed to weigh up a person's capacity for good and evil, and yet in the midst of it all, in this complex understanding, he committed himself to the simple way of love. Now, it did come back to bite him at times, on occasions. Like, for instance, one of his closest associates went to the authorities and betrayed Jesus and his mission for money. That must have really hurt. You know, when I was on holiday, someone masqueraded as me and sent out an email to my congregation, to the friends and members of Trillium, saying that I was in prayer and that I needed to help someone, and could they send me gift cards? Hey there, can you help me out? It was a scam, of course. Someone was trying to take advantage of other people's capacity for goodness, their desire to help others, the trust that people had, trying to take advantage of that for their own egotistical, selfish, self-centered reasons. It's easy to get cynical about things, about people, about situations. And it's easy to make compromises with the world around us. Since everyone is out for themselves, why shouldn't we be out for ourselves? It's quite a challenge to resist this. You know, it seems that all human beings are selfish. We're all prone to self-centered ways. We have all embraced a certain kind of egotism that is ultimately destructive, certainly unhelpful in our lives with each other. I call this unlove, all the ways that we fall short of love. There's love, holy love on the one side, and then there's the unlove of life that seems to command our attention. Unlove can go from benign neglect all the way to malevolent intent. We seem to be rift with the possibility of embracing a way of unlove in life. And here's the challenge. If we allow the unlove in life around us to dominate us, determine where and when we will love others around us, then there is really no capacity for love. For every relationship is imbued, is intersected with selfishness. Even our closest relationships, especially our closest relationships where we get to see each other's flaws and blemishes up close. There's Judas. He comes to Jesus with a bunch of hooligans. They're intent on arresting him. And he goes up to Jesus and he kisses Jesus on his cheek. He uses the marker of intimate friendship. That most intimate of friendships between people is the very marker for betrayal. That's outrageous when you think about it. I think that we all understand the challenges of betrayal in our relationships with each other. We've all experienced both on the giving and receiving of betrayal, and it's easy to lose trust and confidence in the way of love in life with each other. Jesus never trusted human nature, and neither should you or I. Yet he was never cynical or suspicious about it either. Rather, he had absolute confidence in what he could do for human nature. And Jesus trusted in the power of God's love to lift people up and beyond the reality of unlove, of sin in life. Do we trust God's love? Do we trust God's love for our lives? Do you trust God's love? Jesus trusted God's love even to the point of death. And God took the strife and brokenness of the world that culminated in the crucifixion of the Son of God. He took all the strife and brokenness of the world and he made something beautiful of it. He made a new human being, a new human nature rooted in love, guided by divine love. That new human being, that new human nature is offered to us today through the gift of the Spirit. We know relationships are hard, and we know the closer we get to each other, the harder they become, because we get to see each other's blemishes, our flaws up close. Yet we're not deterred. Not because we trust in human nature, but rather we put our focus instead on the power of God's love that lives in us and through us.